Captain's Log. Stardate 2402-11-19. November 19th, 2402. 78919.4. The Chimera A and the Emmett Till have been called to a possible diplomatic incident brewing on the planet Arcadia, home planet of Capella Station. With a synth ban listed for several years now, it is still evident that some of the outsiders refuse to work things out. Also, there might be pesky bluegills there.
It is baffling that several months ago you spent an entire mission discussing me. I hope it was all good.
Oh yes, sir. But now we have returned to the planet of your resurrection.
Only because someone called Critical Vitriol had gone down there to raise trouble.
It seems he's not a fan of the lifting of the synth ban.
Yes, and even with the walkers having finally apologized, he has no one else to complain to.
Jason Viticola, commander of the Monarch, is there looking for his ship. They abandoned him there so he could work on his blog or some other silly thing. The planet then generated a show around it. It's like Lower Decks, the story from which Tendi here emerged from. This may sound weird to some people, but I think it's a better Starship show than any of the other modern ones. It's episodic and procedural, and easy to enjoy in bite-sized chunks.
So, we are dealing with yet another Cillian planet where our fantasy shows create reality. I recommend we find Soong first and contact him before going to rescue Viticola.
Honestly, I wish all the modern Trek shows could be more like this one. It's like we're living one right here, only it's a bit more stable than most fan films. The sheer level of jokes and Easter eggs is astonishing.
Alexander, how are you?
I am alive, sir.
Well, I am technically an android.
I know that, sir. I realized how much more memorable episodic storytelling is.
Ah, to be with my old shipmates again on the Cerritos. Too bad that most of them didn't make it to see me here today.
I enjoyed going back to certain episodes. With a new serialized format, I didn't feel like watching a full season.
I don't know, it's silly in space, Starship, so anything can happen, and they could all come back.
Jeremy Astor, is that really you?
Absolutely. I really enjoyed this as a Starship show. It's good to see you again, even if you are not you, but a very convincing replica. I've finally become my own action figure. Normally, I'm not all that excited about seeing grown children from our past, but in this case, I will make an exception. There is a lot of thought put into the world building here. Little things like the decals on the California-class ships.
The planet will conjure up my old buddies again, and we'll hang out. Maybe after we resolve this.
And it's obvious the creators know and love the series.
They do, but if the bluegills came here, we must face them also. Last time they slunk off, and we never did.
The bluegills have been rearing their heads again, but not at Starfleet. These planets. It would seem most of them lead back here for some reason.
Captain, report to the bridge. The Monarch is decimated and destroyed. On our way.
My God.
Whoever did it deliberately carved off the engines and then the ship, bit by bit, starting with plucking off parts of the hull. It also seems to have infested with bluegills. No life signs now. So they killed off the entire crew to eliminate the bluegills.
Who do you suppose did this vitriol fellow?
I have problems with that, as he was obnoxious but not a killer. He may still be down there. The Ecol is down on the planet. We should get to them before whatever did that does. What's with the change in tone? It's not like anybody we met. Oh, hi, clerk.
Oh, hello, Kestrel Riker. You must be Tam also. That's right.
So they just killed an entire crew, which they made an effort to save earlier. Similar to the guys that were on the Academy, and simply against what the show established beforehand. Holy crap, what a great show. Can't believe how many people were crapping on this thing. Dr. Tabby, the signal from the broadcast is affecting our crew again. We're hooked. On my way. Yes, I was surprised at how cute it is, how much heart it has. Loved it even though I was skeptical at first.
Absolutely loved watching this show. So cool to see something so different come out of the ST universe. Also, it's just me hoping against hope. But damn, the last episode felt like a backdoor pilot to the show I've always wanted, but never got. Starship Titan.
They are experiencing a state of hypnotic euphoria regarding this place.
Since that's never happened thanks to Father Time, an animated spin-off featuring Riker and Troy would be badass, even if it's more comedy than serious.
Riker has been wishful hinting this in his interviews. Captain, the source of the signal from Thaddeus from months ago, it's here. It's directed at us. What? How is that possible?
The alien transmitter on the planet was rebuilt and made to send happy signals to space.
Prepare the landing team anyway. We need to get some answers. And under the circumstances, Castor and Tam will need to attend this one.
Greetings, landing team, and welcome to Coppola Station. I am Jason Vitacola. I don't remember you from the last time I was here.
Was it just me, or did they not do a very good job of setting that up?
I came as last survivor of the Monarch. The ship was destroyed. I'm surprised you were able to come so quickly.
I guess in retrospect it makes sense. And I recall thinking early on that it felt like that was an elephant in the room that nobody had been talking about.
We were examining alien artifacts from space giants when we were attacked.
But was it just me, or did they not really do a good job setting that up?
It's surprisingly subtle. It's never expressly stated.
I had no idea how you got here, or how who attacked you defeated the Bluegills.
If the second highest ranked officer doesn't know, who does?
This was amazing.
Oh, I had nothing to do with this. Alton seems to be showrunner here. Heh, same here. I'm really liking the show.
The other joke that got me a few episodes back was that the greatest Starfleet officer of all time was Miles O'Brien. Nepotism? I just watched the finale again for the second time.
I love that they made the Titan canon.
Why did they do that? Make something canon from the books?
Oh, Titan was mentioned in the movies. The Titan was mentioned at the end of Nemesis, but it was never shown on screen until now. In that sense, the existence of the Titan as Riker's command has always been canon. So unfortunately, no, I don't think the books are canon. The series was so much better than I expected. But the Riker signature warp call is hilarious, brilliant, and so spot on.
I hope that becomes canon. Seems like a plot hole to me, since she somehow knew that the Slavang was destroyed, even though that was impossible for her to know.
Maybe she was in on it. Who are we talking about? Though I suppose it could have just been intuition on what the Slavang's captain did, and how it could have ended in a debris field.
I didn't say a thing about the finale, but the way it ended. Impossible. She's fictional, a made-up character from our stories. Nonetheless, she stands out as real. I am the Queen Denisova, of the native creatures to this world, and grower of the space orchids. Also, as Alton destroyed the ones we had.
Greetings, Admiral Clerk. Is the new body working up to specs? Yes, it is fine. But what is this I hear about giants here, other than giant flowers? Faking a Nephilim giant sounds like the fellow suffered gigantism, a rare genetic disease. No Denisovan Nephilim in either case. Great article, however. I disagree. The giant is large, not merely a case of an ailment being misrecorded as one. Alton isn't lazy. He's just writing to the level he knows his fans will accept, which is any level of drivel and crapola. If Jason was a scientist, he would know that writing this sloppily would get him into serious credibility trouble, and wouldn't do so. Nonetheless, he knows full well that his fans won't dare question his pronouncements and pontifications.
A better skeptic is this one. No word about ingesting essential oils, but I'm surprised that they didn't bring it up. The flower remedies have some ties to one of the Operation Paperclip scientists. Frankly, I'm just put off. Her publisher immediately connects the ad on the page that has a Biphomet with the Enlightenment by default. To my mind, it feeds several bad themes that can be construed as coddling the far right, and in the context of the history of science, as the view posits a view of Western history.
This is not Nepenthe, but is similar in that both planets are havens for the regenerated, preserver planets, if you will.
Oils. The original oils and incenses were hallucinogenic, and that includes your favorite religion, including the burning bush. Some of us did not believe in such things. Well, I did think there were prophets in a wormhole, which sounds as odd, I suppose. Except we found them in the wormhole, and they're ancient aliens, not gods.
With Mike and Rich returned to their own time, this other group has filled in the gaps.
Denisova, a Cillian, wants to be able to change it up. Not the same old Trek reset button we used to get. The ancient gods used herbs to find enlightenment, or the answer to the big questions. Nepenthe was named for the Nephilim.
It's Badgie. Tendi.
When he first popped up, I thought he was some sort of Clippy reference, and that was sort of lame.
Must continue. To kill! Koloth helped kill the infested ship, as did I. Yay!
Then things got dark and weird, and it was great.
Only kidding. Or am I?
And him showing up in the finale was a fun bit of continuity. He's a hologram or some other trip. Loved it as I loved every other episode this season and can't wait for more. It's Peanut Hamper. But we left her on the ship, didn't we? That is, we didn't beam her down here, so something is very screwy here. Not that I'm complaining, I like it very silly. Hey!
Here I come to save the day. That is, unless you want me to risk something dangerous, and then I'm out.
10D 2.0, hee.
I was expecting the Exocomp to be just a floating R2-D2, but 10D 2.0 is fine too. Now, all we need is a Trek version of the jet fuel steel beams meme.
I will not sacrifice myself for this mad plan here. No, sir.
Gee, an exocomp refusing to sacrifice itself. Who could have seen that coming?
All hands, red alert. Ha! He crowbarred in red alert. Realistically, he could have already said he has to be Riker.
Red alert. I'm out of here.
Screw you, Peanut Hamper.
Love you too, T. I'm getting the frack out of here before the Klingon raiding party arrives. Because you just know there's gonna be one. Bye-bye. Upvote for. Screw you, Peanut Hamper. Gee, an exocomp refusing to sacrifice itself. Who could have seen that coming? I am Captain Riker of the Titan.
Is it really you?
I'm Captain Riker of the Titan, yeah.
He doesn't know of me. He's not my father.
The series loves to subvert tropes like that.
I wish to become an alien archaeologist and a TV personality.
Gee, you're giving your commanding officer news, and he won't want to hear about your career plans.
Nope, she's wholesomely enthusiastic about it.
Burning Bush the second, or the first of the father of the opioid epidemic down in Florida?
The existence of illegal substances is a recent invention.
The only reason cannabis went into decline is because tobacco was far more popular when both cannabis and tobacco were cultivated during the 18th century.
Politicians smoked both substances avidly, but we do not here. It would decrease our ability to function.
H.P. Lovecraft's cat, please. Hey, where is it? I thought I could conjure it.
Mew. Mew. Mew.
Cannabis went into decline because Harry associated it with minorities, crime, and rape.
Hardly fair. Pot, if anything, would make you not want to do anything. The connection was accepted by the same folks who accepted the closeted crypto-black and crypto-white guy.
Tell that to the historians. The founders of American independence regularly smoked cannabis.
Shocking by today's standards.
Since you believe the historical reality of the Exodus, tell that to the historians as well, because they would be more interested in your evidence for it.
There were anti-marijuana efforts in place in the U.S. long before Harry was born.
He just caught the wave and took it for a long ride.
Pay attention, son.
This planet is screwing with us. I detest that. I slayed the bluegills who were invading. I am the hero. Give me credit, please.
You made an incorrect assertion and got called on it.
Case closed. Son.
When you learn how, holler.
I wish to know what agenda Alton has planned for us.
Agenda? What's the agenda?
No plans to keep any of you here. Koloth, your coming here was not my doing. A likely story.
Try telling that to Josephus, who depicted the Jewish freedom fighters of Masada as duelists.
How many biblical scholars have commented about that? It's not in their interest because it would contradict their agendas.
That's twisted. Thank you, Jason, for drawing attention to it here. Angels might be aliens from Atlantis.
Saltine's become a TV personality.
Saltine is not breaking new ground as depicted in the stories. He's robbing graves.
You seem like an intelligent person. I value your opinion very much.
Not really dead.
Grave robbing is an old story, but he's still on it, okay? Try to keep up. Can you blame science or religion for being at odds? You don't have an excuse for carrying on with a conflict model between science and religion, Jason.
You can inform more than you do through your criticism, but you choose not to do every time.
Is this peanut gallery really the crowd you want to speak to?
The Peanut Gallery refers to the childlike studio audience of an archaic Earth TV show called Howdy Doody, where they would become rowdy to see the puppet, and were told, enough of that from the Peanut Gallery, in reference to their seating arrangement.
No one cares. Wait, aren't you that fool Terran from the ship?
I will have you know I traffic in woo without shame. I am no fool.
Just yesterday, I confess I bought myself a citrine and celestine geode for display, and sent my sister a sweet cut base amethyst geode. Nothing scientific about all the paranormal and supernatural stuff in the Bible and Judeo-Christianity. Koloth, you were the fool. Get your head screwed on. I helped kill the bluegills. I also collect voltives cut from stone. They would originally have given off incense in ancient times that would be classified as illegal today. Pillar of fire and pillar of cloud is nonsense. Spirit of the Lord. There's a hovel up ahead. What? Thad? Dear sister, you found me, but I have it on good word. I led you here.
What is this place?
It's Ardani. Don't you like it?
It's a little overwhelming. Who needs biblical scholars when you can be your own gardener?
It's a mystery to biblical scholars why the tabernacle in Exodus didn't have a canopy. Because they are so stiff and upper-lipped, they will never know. Just like they won't ever know the significance of unleavened bread. There's only one explanation. Oh, I know. Call on me. It's because Exodus is completely made up and you are a crazy person. Really. Like what? Why is there no evidence of the Exodus?
Ignore these heretics, kid. You'll live longer.
But I died in 2396.
Yeah, he was a little younger than I am now.
The preservers revived me and brought me to the Cillian realm. Did they? Does that mean that they preserved a copy of me also? Yes, I met him, and B9 is also revived. Enough of that. Wish to know why humans assume their silly writings have any hidden meaning. According to biblical scripture, the Hebrews, led by the patriarch Moses, took his formerly enslaved people out of Egypt during the reign of Ramses II.
The history of Ramses is exceptionally well documented, but there is scant evidence of any such event.
Further, the scriptures tell us that Moses took his followers, numbering in the tens of thousands, on a 40-year trip around what we today call the Middle East. No archaeological evidence of any such diaspora has ever been found in any of the locations that the long event would have been situated, and no historical documentation exists from any of the many different peoples that such an event would have affected. Why is this? Canaan, the alleged eventual destination of the Hebrews, was under Egyptian control during this period, so their arrival there would certainly have raised eyebrows among the Egyptian officials governing the province. Christianity is either right or wrong. It is right for some.
I don't need to put Judeo in front of it to appease my masters, like some Shiva speech. Intelligent design message from the designers is another message from the stars. The Raelians want to build an embassy for the Elohim, our scientific creators.
The Heroic and the Iconians had nothing to do with this. They did not make us. What's going on here? I came from the records of the Titan. What does this have to do with anything? When did I have children? Please, someone explain. Jason Viticola has written about him in his book on Lovecraft and pop culture.
He was skeptical and left without fully buying in.
That his own show comes on and accepts all the lies told throughout the history of the island hoax as a fact. How can these children be mine also?
So there goes that.
One of them was the evil Captain Kirk from the episode Mirror Mirror. Yeah, where was good Captain Spot when we needed him most? He always saw right through that, but I suppose you're onto something, Vince. Must have been an evil Spot that did in search of. A thorough and, dare I say it, entertaining review. More entertaining than watching the show. Thank you.
read suggestions that the Great Flood myths may derive from an event which breached the Dardanelles, then raising the level of the Black Sea.
There is archaeological evidence in Bulgaria of buildings now submerged in the sea.
I have read this as well. What I find cool is that the Black Sea is a treasure trove of amazingly well-preserved shipwrecks and such. I have plenty of time to read, being in hiding during the events of the space plague, because it's like what killed me. It was not unearthed at the Black Sea. Is that on Earth? Who knows what evidence of history, even of the flood, may be found there?
This is where you'd find answers, but they'd be underwater. I know that. My fear is that somehow global warming and rising sea levels may change this, and precious, well-preserved artifacts may be lost forever.
You mean global warming, like the medieval warm period? Wow, after just being well and truly exposed for a liar, with your bad faith arguing and trolling. I didn't notice it was supposed to be yours. Thought it was just a random idiot. What you call trolling, I call pointing out the obvious.
Well, that's a good thing Jason has you looking out for him.
Mr. Lying Coleth, you are full of it. I guess we can add science denier to your handle. But then it's just your sad attempt at trolling, or your complete ignorance at the fact that did it.
Using this as proof to say that we cannot be causing current warmings as a faulty notion based upon rhetoric rather than science. So, what are the holes in this line of thinking?
Firstly, evidence suggests that the medieval warm period may have been warmer than today in many parts of the globe, such as the North Atlantic.
The warming, therefore, allowed the Vikings to travel further north than had been previously possible because of reductions in sea ice and land ice in the Arctic.
However, evidence also suggests that some places were very much cooler than today, including the tropical Pacific. Stalker trolls. I'm beginning to understand Mr. Cyrano's use of the term stalker, but I welcome your attentions. They're endlessly amusing.
I am told that's what she said.
Koloth, you realize that the premise of your argument is completely asinine, and is also completely in conflict of all known data, don't you? Rises in modern global temperatures have outstripped the rises during the medieval warm period by a huge amount.
Relatively speaking, it's not even the same ballpark. You're talking out of your ass.
As I've said, this isn't the first time your civilization has been at the brink. You must listen and obey, or all is lost.
I want to repeat this because it is vital that you hear this. Once before on your planet, the technology you developed was far greater than your ability to use it responsibly.
You're approaching the same point in human history again. It's vitally important that you understand this.
Your present technology is threatening to outstrip your ability to use it wisely.
Your society is on the verge of becoming a product of your technology, rather than your technology becoming a product of your society.
When a society becomes a product of its own technology, it destroys itself.
We are unlikely to come out of this mess alive without the help of aliens. Alien contactees say that due to the law of free will, at least 5% of the human population has to ask for help. Did the Klingons face similar disasters? We do not talk about that.
Oh, sure. Now he zips it.
Yes, the world may be ending, but if you vote for us, we can burn lots of coal and make it a certainty. Sorry, if humans are affecting the climate, it's already too late. Your only solution is to get rid of them. So if you want to save the planet, well, why not take the noble first step? I know, you want so badly to simply label me as climate denier, and end it right there. But you really haven't thought any of this through now, have you?
You're just stuck on the part about who to vote for to save the world. And that's exactly where they want you. I'd be more concerned with reality. This must concentrate on human civilizations.
The idea of dinosaur civilizations going into the millions of years has been used in shows from Doctor Who to Star Trek Voyager.
Vince was wrong in that such a civilization would have left traces in the environmental record, such as evidence of plant and animal domestication.
An argument could be made regarding evidence of animal domestication being human civilization itself. The ancient astronaut theory before genetics got involved, attempting to reconcile the idea of a virgin birth. The premise being aliens inbred and trained human populations for specific tasks before eventually deciding to have sex with them. Corn is the crop usually cited as evidence for ancient plant domestication, going from one ear to a multiple-eared plant.
This is actually a very interesting topic.
Who or what first potty-trained humanity? Who and which formed the basis of systemic agriculture in the Middle East, North Africa, India, Persia, and Europe? They consisted of flax, 3 cereals, and 4 pulses, and are the first known domesticated plants in the world. Everyone knows that, you retard. What's your point? For 7,000 years, post-dates the first known domesticated plants in the world from the Fertile Crescent. Europe and Europeans never domesticated any grains. They inherited it from the Near East. Jason, nice dodge fudge on the Ark before Noah. The real point is that the flood is not just a myth. Denying the flood is like denying climate change. Pathetic. I suspect you are confusing history with mythology. Waters flooded into the Mediterranean basin at the end of the last ice age. Sure, local floods everyone has seen and no one disputes. But a global flood is a ridiculous and unsubstantiatable fairy tale. Your planet did not experience such a thing. Here's something we're never going to see at an actual convention. Yes. Normally we don't particularly like each other, but now we do. Oh my. The conventional flood story states that the flood waters came from rain that lasted 40 days and 40 nights. Rain appears when the atmosphere can no longer support water in the vapor form, and it becomes saturated. It could not have happened, and this vessel would have had to have been the size of your Australia to hold everything.
The number 40 is to be found in a great many instances in the Old Testament. For instance, at the end of the 40 days, Noah sent out a raven from the ark.
Isaac and Esau were each 40 years old when they married.
40 days were fulfilled in the embalming of Jacob.
The Israelites wandered 40 years in the wilderness, the spies 40 days in search of the land of Canaan.
The land had rest 40 years on 3 occasions.
The land was delivered into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. The rain was upon the earth 40 days at the time of the deluge. Moses was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights on each occasion. 40 days was the period from the resurrection of Jesus to the ascension of Jesus.
Passages in the book of Genesis do further point out the possibility that the ancients did at one time track 40 days in the unbroken cycle.
There's a big difference between 40 days and 40 years. Both 1 day and 1 year represent the completion of a circle.
The raven sent out by Noah is the northern constellation Corvus.
Shut up. Bezalel has gills. Read your Bible, heathen. Idiot fundamentalists' arguments to destroy your devilish science. It's no wonder your people nearly destroyed yourselves over political boundaries several times, based on ideals. Mere ideals. The Q were right. You will never change. Water came up from the depths too, not just rain.
Lower pressure afterward allowed for more rain, thus rainbows, and us keeling over much earlier.
Big rocks floated. Dinosaurs ate humans. Yep, you are going to hell. I'll beat you there, though. Unless I make it to about the year 2445, Satan willing.
Hopefully, Koloth and Cyrano won't make it to that point.
I deny both, and also the Big Bang. Not a big fan of meteoric death of dinosaurs either, come to think of it. His arguments don't hold water, and he's not familiar with relativity. Other non-Big Bang enthusiasts are better. However, their arguments are still deficient, not rigorously based in evidence.
Please notify me by pizzagram and I'll be sure to investigate.
Vince was wrong in that such a civilization would have left traces in the environmental record, such as evidence of plant and animal domestication. Not necessarily.
In the past decades, it was figured out that the oak tree population of California was partly the work of hunter-gatherers who planted some of the acorns they harvested.
And currently, one figure is that agrarians and hunter nomads developed simultaneously as different spring-offs from hunter-gatherer style. Thus, domestication then could consist of something a lot more like the reindeer herd tending but not confining them. Also, scatter sowing of seeds do not look like farming like we are used to, and changes in the results occur one way or the other and would not look like anything much more than a natural development. The Darwinian theory is wrong. If not, then inform what special species of monkey did the human originate from? Has someone ever asked this question?
And why didn't all the monkey types undergo evolution? Jason, thank you for all your work. Most people would have given up on these reviews long ago. Your tenacity and purposefulness is to be recommended.
A meaningful event. I hope everything goes well.
It's a pyramid city and gallery. The people will build one on Nepotizia also. You have mixed up Mesoamerican and Egyptian styles. The magnetic qualities of the Olmec heads was reported in the 80s. You should do some research before you spew a lie. Prove it.
Last year, there was a flurry of media coverage because of a study in Monte Alban of their magnetic properties, suggesting that they were purposeful and not coincidental.
I will clarify that I'm referring to that study, which is what Ancient Aliens obviously Googled.
You should think before you spew allegations of lying. Jason is not denying that the heads have magnetic properties.
He's denying they were used for data storage.
He's right to do so, since there's no coherent explanation of how they could be so used, nor any reason to believe it.
The support that Jason fails to mention is called the Sheldrake hypothesis.
Jason could have included this, but for the purposes of keeping this captive audience in a constant state of open hostility, he omitted it. Why can't Jason pass on the information? Surely some of the denizens of this outpost on the fringe would like to look up Sheldrake. Is Jason a closeted narcissist? I wonder. One small step for data storage to spherical energy, to how Oxycontin explains justification for the pathological struggle to leave a real narcissist.
You can be relied on to spout the stupidest nonsense available, can't you? Sheldrake and his ideas are a tiny cloud of dust in the rearview mirror, not even yesterday's news.
Sheldrake is a classic example of the last barb I threw to Jason, about who had been made a better article when he was posting about the so-called professional archaeologist who sold her soul to Ancient Aliens for money.
He failed to discuss serialization, but went on to criticize Ancient Aliens for creating standalone episodes, and called the model repetitive. Sheldrake, in this case, is the same thing.
We are discussing a standalone series of episodes, and this means that for every new viewer who Googles something, Jason must keep up the pace and stop slacking. He must mention Sheldrake. How many new viewers have ever heard of Sheldrake?
What's your hate-based agenda, if not narcissism?
Your obsession with your stunted emotional growth, vampirizing a website for every crumb of meaning. A nihilist like you can smash someone over the head to justify your emotional constipation.
Well, that's my opinion, Koloth. Sheldrake may have been disproven, but perennialism springs eternal.
Hey, what good are such comments from a formulated religious fundamentalist?
Calm down. Sorry to have to tell you this, but your favorite fringe celebrities in all probability do not care about you.
The Sheldrake hypothesis is misnamed. It's standard New Age material, given inappropriate credence because it's spouted by someone who has an advanced degree in a semi-related field.
I've missed y'all. Life got busy. I can't even remember my old screen name here. Good to see the quality of your work is as good or better than ever. Also good to see that most commenters are fact-based and supportive. Not surprised that kooks still post here.
I see we have a captive audience. The planet will belong to the Klingons one day, and we shall make these gullible sheep do what we like.
What captive audience? You don't have to be here and welcome to leave any time.
Whenever AA discusses the energy or magnetism of a monument or statue or grid point, they should be required to report the magnitude of the effect.
I think they would find 100% of the cases register no more than background in the surrounding area.
Right, I never said that the heads were somehow transmitters, or can make anything happen. They're just magnetized stones, nothing more. The Olmec stone statue heads are obviously magnets used by the Nephilim to stick Babylonian tablet hierarchic report cards to time-traveling alien refrigerators. Oopa, 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 booa, oopa. Oopa, 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 booa, oopa.
I think you may be onto something. Yet your theory fails to explain the Bigfoot, the biggest, traveling in flying saucers.
Tsakhalos interprets every headdress and helmet on the carvings there as space helmets, though they have no glass visors, which is important for a space helmet to be of any use.
Helmets tend to look the same on the strength of the fact that they must cover heads that are the same shape.
What the hell?
And as for archaeologist Sadat, well, yeah, it does look like he's playing along.
My English can now be entirely read.
So we know in fair detail the history of the site, and the names of many of the people wearing the alleged space helmets.
Oh, and the inscriptions record the actions of the Copan dynasty, and make no reference to ET.
And the space helmets just happen to have feathers in them. Whatever.
Even the most superficial research will reveal that the Mayan collapse occurred over a period of about a century, and revealed by the last dated inscriptions.
However, it appears that much of the collapse was the ending of dynasties and cultural products associated with that.
Some sites did not experience significant depopulation for quite a while after the collapse.
Copan seems to have, after the end of its dynasty and termination of dynastic building politics, seems to have been abandoned.
However, its hinterland has experienced little change for several centuries, unlike other Mayan sites. The above is easily found out. To me, it is painfully obvious that Tezcalos is simply not interested in doing even the most minimal research. Giorgio Tsakalos is a former bodybuilder contest promoter with a BA in communications from Ithaca.
He's not a scientist, not a researcher, or an authority on anything. Giorgio is nothing but a talking head with a bad haircut. Only cares about keeping himself in the limelight and employed.
You. Who are these two goof-offs? They appear to be copies of Cal Hazel. Cal who? Hey, they helped bring me back. We did, but we're here to discuss the staring thing. Yeah, the staring thing you were on about. Nearly lost my tea when I saw this. Yes, seeing one's own image is often jarring. So lonely. Sheldrake's morphic resonance theory, aka Rupert's resonance, has been debunked, or at least untestable. According to Scientific American, those surveyed in the 2005 study were given biased information in the study and concluded that both the data about psychic memory and the data about seeing none were flawed. They could not prove through any peer-reviewed analysis that it was testable. Nonetheless, it does not apply here, as Rupert's resonance is the theory that people can tell through some extra sense that people are being stared at, which does not apply to rocks and crystals. The skewed results did cause issues. The ones who tested out as having this sense had an unusually high fear or fight or flight response to certain staring tests. The other control group did not, and were not prone to the same. This is how the Esper device works. You are the control group. Congratulations. Hence, there was not enough data in either group to conclude that the ESP wasn't just their normal perception of being watched in a possible hostile environment. If the respondents were in a much safer healing place, they did not have such issues. My brief analysis of the articles in question did not include Wikipedia. Rupert's resonance is what makes some people very paranoid or scared in given situations, and is not ESP at all, but a very ancient trigger from when humans were more tribal and had more fear of the unknown. Classical fiction notwithstanding, including the works of xenophobic Lovecraft. And the Mayans are not gone, but this episode, Shadow Dancer, was called away.
I was interested to hear about Rupert's resonance being the theory that people can tell through some extra sense that people are being stared at. As a child in church during boring sermons, I and a number of friends used to while away the time by staring at the back of someone's head who was sitting several pews ahead. I've done that too, but usually I made noise, and that's why they looked back. Invariably, after several minutes, they would become uneasy and turn around, glancing behind them.
I think we all have. This Cal is just not one of those that have.
To us, it was a game, and it never occurred to me to wonder how it worked. That it worked was to us self-evident. It worked because you triggered their fears, as Cal said, and as Rupert said. In later days, I assumed it was some residual instinct that warned a person they were being watched, and this could indicate danger.
Exactly that.
I find it interesting to hear there's some sort of study on it. And having gone away and read the article on that I found, I find that it's still more interesting and confusing that it said not to work.
It certainly works for us, even factoring in scientific explanations for as to how we only thought it did.
Sorry, it worked for us. And I have no idea why scientists couldn't replicate something half a dozen of us did some years ago. You were giggling children and let them know you were looking. That'd be my guess. You just didn't know you were.
I had also done it before as a child, and usually, yes, I was making a sound or sounds, and they could tell, therefore I was looking. It does not disprove the staring, it disproves its ESP. It's not ESP. Come, Cal, we must go forthwith. Oh, is this only a cameo? That and the all-powerful Connors will soon call us. I was hoping it was Rumbly again. Hi. But I see Talisman is here, as attendee.
Hi there. Long time no see.
She's taken. Let's go. Later. Holocat Fintana. 2 to beam up. There's no ship waiting for us, is there? No.
Your topic is very great and useful to us. Thank you.
New Zealand giant hunters spend 4 years digging for giants and find a moa bone. I did some reading on this, and the weird part is I couldn't quite figure out how the diggers made the jump to the giants were white people, just biblical giantism, I guess. I just wonder about the religious denomination of those involved, and if they're Protestants. In fact, you don't even know how to read and write.
All you need to do is identify a particular psychoactive substance and how to prepare it.
And then you will be able to recover the original Judeo-Christianity before subject to centuries of distortion by Roman Catholicism, and later spread out into millions and millions of directions following the Protestant Reformation.
How many generations have lived without ever knowing that explanation for Judeo-Christianity?
Take my word for it. Judeo-Christianity in the Bible is based on a mind-expanding drug. And what's more, those who brought the pseudo-historical biography of Jesus in the Gospels knew all about it.
Why don't you go to a Christian colony to spread your message?
I think you're preaching to the choir, and no one here is going to become as militant as you are about it. Now that one I like. Well, it's settled then. It's also simple. All I must do is take your word for it. Bye-bye messy lab work. Bye-bye tedious scholarship.
You don't need to understand ancient languages to know the explanation for Judeo-Christianity.
In fact, you don't even have to know how to read and write.
How many generations lived without ever knowing that explanation for Judeo-Christianity?
Man, this is a Christian colony.
Yeah, I get the frustration. We live in a world in which being an atheist still makes one a pariah for most purposes, and idiotic Christian dogma continues to infect society.
I figured out long ago that Jesus didn't even exist as a real person. Or as I share this discovery with people, they generally consider me a lunatic, and they can't begin to wrap their minds around the concept of no historical Jesus. But I'm not posting anti-Christian screeds, so I guess that makes me an unwitting co-conspirator in the Christian fraud, if I'm following your logic correctly.
And then you would be able to recover the original version of Judeo-Christianity.
Did you see a jizz all your nonsense here sign outside? Spell out what you're talking about, or be gone. And I swear by Odin's hairy balls, it better not be an ergot.
Despite the symbolism of the Jerusalem temple being built on a threshing floor, and the significance of unleavened bread, it is not ergot. I am not the bread of life.
Such an absurdity. If Christianity was some obscure religion, it would surely never receive rave reviews. It all shows how pliable and impressionable the Homo sapien species can be. This is an object lesson into copycat stupidity syndrome.
And it is also an extreme example of xenophobic ethnocentrism because of all those missionaries who are totally unable to keep their religious beliefs to themselves. You are without the slam dunk element required that proves that Jesus Christ is to prove that he did not exist as a person with a head, torso, arms, and legs.
Just like all those humanists and atheists. Like Gene Roddenberry. But argument for Christian origins was useless, and there is a theory that Jesus Christ was originally a crucified non-entity elevated to mythic status. Did you see a jizz all your nonsense here sign outside? Spell out what you're talking about, or be gone. The resurrection being cognate to the atonement, being cognate to the liberation from Roman occupation, meant something and it had purpose. When Christianity took off and lost its original mold and meaning, the resurrection became devoid of any meaning and just represented a pretty story. How pretty! Jesus died for our sins, and so we could live detached from original mold and meaning.
Original mold, like the ergot, he's wrong.
Is that for real?
I think it's an idol.
Is that a bluegill or a breaker gull? About the bone they discovered, they didn't just jump to white giants. It's most likely a bluegill. It either it is or it isn't a tibia. Since the speaker doesn't know, my guess is it's not. It's an animal bone since it's hollow.
After hundreds of thousands of years, a lot of bones are hollow. Either because they were hollow, animal bones, or because the marrow and softer interior structure of the human bone is decomposed and has been eaten by insects.
First, the structure of solid bone is different from the structure of hollow bone. So F you. None of that changes the fact that many bones are hollow after hundreds of thousands of years, after the marrow has been decomposed or has been consumed by insects.
Someone who has been inside a catacomb, well played, Quincy. It won't shut him up. However, if he's busy frantically cherry-picking from materials like irrelevant articles on examples of fossilized bone marrow to try and save face It leaves him less time for other forms of mischief here. This is different and separate from the structural differences between solid human bones and bird or dinosaur bones. Be like water, my friend. So no, you're still riding the FU train.
And yet many bones are hollow after centuries or thousands of years. Your comments are either incorrect or irrelevant as relating to this discussion. If you didn't want to have to try to dig yourself out of a hole like this, you should have phrased your comments better. Sorry, better luck next time, Bones. Save your FUs for the mirror. I've been inside a catacomb, but I get your point. Unlike Koloth, I have a life, and have no intention of wasting further time on the matter, even if it does distract him from behaving like an ass elsewhere here. He has plenty of time on his hands, and will eventually show up there anyway. Let him babble about fossilized marrow, or go on about other tangents if he wants. If Koloth can figure this out, he's going to find it even more frustrating. He's already posting some twisted stuff here in his thread. Nice to keep him distracted, but no dice.
I'm assuming you meant can't instead of can.
LD made me love Trek when I thought I no longer had it in me. Makes the universe feel more connected, I think. Though, yeah, it did feel like they did it a lot. And often in the form of extensive lists and references, I'm here to add to the madness. On that note, lack of prime directive references is surprising. I think it's mentioned twice, and once it's by some alien who is throwing it out as in a situation where it doesn't apply. Sometimes it came up every week in TNG. Not that it should come up every week. Then again, we're dealing with lower decks. It's the bridge crew that should usually worry about that stuff. So the choice to not have it pop up in conversation a lot could be based around that idea. LD made me love Trek when I thought it no longer had it in me. Stop ignoring me. I demand it. That's how you peel the nostalgia. I wish to know why the bluegill idol seemed to be made of hollow bones.
I did not want to know what happened if a ship tried to go to warp. Well, docked.
He's really pissed off.
This idea is really kind of mean, and I like it. Though don't nacelles provide thrust?
I'll walk right up to that idol and push it over. You will see.
So if anything, it wouldn't have put stress on the Slavang to rip it apart, as is what I assume was what we were seeing.
That scene in the Monarch's decimation set the tone perfectly for this episode. It was still going to be funny, but bad shit was coming, and you feel it going in, making Koloth squirm as a delight. Or am I too high?
No, you're not high. I agree. Dick move.
Not dirty, but a little tactless. I think the interesting question is why she was mad. He went with the Titan.
I am not okay.
The rest of the episode after said moment was freaking amazing.
Stuff to fully enjoy while in shock. What an amazing episode. Just perfection from beginning to end. I cannot wait for season 2.
They have ramped up the nostalgia infection to 11. I think we should contact the ship for help. Tabby Kamara, come in.
Is it just me, or did it kind of feel like the ending of a series?
No, it's not the end. We have a second half of this.
Red alert? I mean, just kidding. Wait a minute, I don't joke about that. Hi, Koloth.
I'm pretty sure I remember Boimler saying something early on about his dream of serving on the Titan, and we end the episode with him there. I gotta say this has been my favorite Trek series lately. I'm reading a shift in the influence on the crew. It just seems that way because both share the same habits of saying things that are factually incorrect. Or they do such a poor job of articulating their thoughts that, even if they do occasionally have a valid point, it is lost on everyone but themselves.
You're still missing the point that hollow bones and solid bones are structurally different, but that's okay. The world needs ditch diggers too. Koloth could have benefited from some time as a ditch digger.
Maybe then he would have come across some human long bones that were hollow after 500 years, no matter what they were structurally, when the person was walking about.
Then this whole conversation would not be whizzing a mile over his head.
He may be as obtuse as many as two dumb people, but I'd be willing to go with the position that we are dealing with just one person.
Having a hole or empty space inside.
Then how would you know?
There we go again. Somebody is seriously obsessed about racism. Who is obsessed, you ragamuffin dingle-whipper dink? Must keep the swearing down, so this gets a PG-13 rating. The skeptic is a type of man with a religious psyche who seeks certainty in an affirmation of his current worldview.
A mental model becomes a substitute for the messy reality that exists. But because the real is always more complex, interesting, and surprising than the mental models adopted, he or she is constantly bombarded by evidence that contradicts his worldview.
A skeptic is just a man who has a strong predisposition to intense religious faith, who has lost that faith and is seeking some other form of certainty in their life.
It's not a psychological disorder per se, but a coping mechanism.
But the psychological disposition is very unhelpful.
This isn't to say that the alternative researcher isn't motivated by his own psychological predispositions.
Captain,
It's time we got some answers. The crew is fine up there for a while.
you are formidable. They are not.
The alternative researcher tends to observe and place greater weight on evidence that contradicts a given worldview, and often to an extent that isn't warranted.
But this kind of worldview inevitably ends up being correct, more often than one might expect.
In my view, the alternative researcher and the skeptic are just two personality types.
The skeptic refuses to believe in giants because there's no substantive evidence for the existence of giants.
The alternative researcher either believes in giants because they lack the training and analytical skills to properly collect and evaluate the so-called evidence of giants, or they pretend to believe in giants to sell a lot of books.
Or they're just batshit crazy.
So, something to the whole brain he was born with thing when it comes to why someone does or doesn't buy into crazy stuff.
If there's anything Christianity and Judaism has taught us, it's that massive edifices can be built on foundations of nonsense, sometimes with horrifying consequences. Drop that, and you'll be on the right track. Sorry, you're not going to bait me into denigrating the religion of piece of little boy ass, or peanut butter be upon him. I'm quite satisfied with flying saucers and the amazing disappearing Wallace.
I never cease to be amazed how quickly the comments on this blog degenerate into nonsensical trolling. Keep it up, kids.
Titan's awesome, woohoo.
This is a version of Riker who was cloned on the planet and doesn't remember us.
That's weird.
He's Thomas Riker. We finally see her in action. And Will and Deanna, too.
Peanut Hamper is a stupid name, but I realize that's subjective.
You think Peanut Hamper is a stupid name? This episode was incredible. I am so excited for next season and hope it's not too far off.
I don't think it was.
This is my homeworld now. Wouldn't surprise me. It's probably where she belongs.
It was phenomenal. Jazz warp. I laughed so hard at Troy's reaction. And I cried seeing the Titan. I straight up screamed. I've been waiting for years to see the Titan, and it's perfect.
Make it go.
That was awesome.
They upped their A game this time around. You guys should take me for a ride.
I geeked out when Riker arrived. I hope we see him again because he grew on me. Pretty good summary if you ask me.
Returning to that same planet so soon was quite the surprise.
Oh crap, we're under the influence of whatever this is.
Yeah, the Lord registered his screwed up because it burnt.